25 movies. That's the number of movies I've seen in the last 2 weeks through Netflix, whether online or through DVD. The reason? My family was out of town for 2 weeks, and so I had all the time in the world in the evening to catch up on the movies I wanted to see. Well, it's resulted in this list of movies I've seen that I have these opinions on that I'd love to get down on record, but I just don't think I have enough time to tell you about 25 different movies. So in the midst of these 25 movies, I picked 5 movies that I think you need to take time to see, or that would be good to take time to see, that I really enjoyed, and then also 5 movies that I don't think are worth your time. And I've tried to pick ones that you may be interested in seeing or may have heard something about. I'm leaving off the ones, I think, for the most part, that are obvious. You know, probably don't want to see that one, or yeah, I have to see that one. So let's start with the negative so we can finish with the positive. Here are 5 movies of the 25 I saw that you really probably don't need to waste your time on. The Tourist, Johnny Depp, Angelina Jolie. It was okay acting. There were some decent twists and turns to it, but it is a boring, like it is a slow, boring movie. I found myself nodding off during that one and just trying to get through it, which I eventually did, and did not find it worth the effort. The last Harry Potter, part 1 of the final saga of Harry Potter, is only worth seeing if you are really invested in the whole Harry Potter thing. It is not a great movie. In fact, I hate these movies that split one movie into 2, because unless they can figure out a good way to do it, but it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like somebody was telling you a story and then decided to leave before they finished the story. Not only that, but as I've said with the other Harry Potter movies, it's just impossible to take the world that is in the book, and the depth of that world, and put it in these films. So I wouldn't waste your time on that unless you're a huge Harry Potter fan, which is fine. You'll enjoy it just for being what it is from that world. Yogi Bear. I thought this looked funny in the previews, but this is an awful movie. And one thing I didn't think about, and I just didn't, as I'm watching it, I don't understand, why do you hire Dan Aykroyd to be Yogi Bear and Justin Timberlake to be Boo Boo when they're just going to do Yogi Bear and Boo Boo impersonations? Why wouldn't you hire a voice actor or an impersonator who could do those, you know, Yogi and Boo Boo impersonations perfect? Why hire famous people who are just going to do impersonations that aren't that great, and then they're not even going to sound like themselves, so people don't even know it's them? I don't get that casting choice, and overall I didn't get the movie as well. Green Hornet, Seth Rogen playing the superhero. I thought this one looked fun and good. Turns out it was really lame, I think is the best way to say it. I think this is one of those movies, when you watch it at home in 2 dimensions, you realize what a mistake it is for movies to try to do gimmicky 3D. There are scenes in this movie that you go, why is this a slow motion bottle cap spinning across the screen? Oh, I get it. It was in 3D and it was coming out at me. No, get rid of the gimmick. Use 3D for emotion and depth and storytelling. Don't use it for gimmicks, because it does not translate when it's in 2 dimensions. And overall, the movie just wasn't that great. And then a movie called The Road that I finally got around to seeing. This has been out a long time, and I'd heard many, many good things about it. I did not enjoy it, and not just because it's dark, which it is very dark and depressing, but again, it's a plodding pace. It's just very slow, and boy, just not worth destroying my emotional insides in the way that movie does, especially for as slow as it is. The performances are great in that movie. I will give it that. The performances are pretty phenomenal. So let's talk about the positives. Here are 5 movies you might want to get on your Netflix queue that kind of surprised me, but I thought were good. Black Swan. Was not expecting to like this movie. A, it's about ballerinas in ballet, and B, it's from Darren Aronofsky, whose other movies have kind of been hit or miss for me, mostly miss. He's just really abstract and obscure, but this movie manages somehow to tie the world of ballet, and specifically the Black Swan ballet, to the real life of the people who are in the Black Swan or performing it, and he does it in a way that is very nuanced and subtextual, and Natalie Portman's performance is amazing. This movie really shocked me that I enjoyed it as much as I did. So Black Swan is one you might enjoy. Hereafter, I'd heard bad things about this movie, which surprised me because Clint Eastwood directed it, and everything he's done I've been amazed by, except for maybe one of the war movies. Flags of Our Fathers, I think, was good. The other one was kind of boring. That's beside the point. Point is, I think he did a great job with this movie. Matt Damon is great in it. I love the way it's telling 3 separate stories. And you know because this is the way movies work, that they're going to come together at some point. Love the way these stories come together. Love the moment they come together. Love how late it is in the movie. Plus, that first scene is spectacular. The tidal wave scene in Hereafter. I would recommend checking out Hereafter. It's one I really enjoyed. The Fighter. Now, I thought this movie would probably be good. I didn't think it would be this good. This movie blew me away. Mark Wahlberg is phenomenal, but the real story of this movie is Christian Bale. Oh my goodness. His performance in this movie is one of the greatest performances of all time. Add to that the fact that it's a true story, and the story itself is pretty incredible and pretty amazing, and full of redemption, and full of these beautiful things. The Fighter is definitely one that absolutely blew me away. Megamind. I was not expecting to love Megamind this much. In fact, to me it looked like just kind of a rip-off of, what was the movie with Steve Carell, where he's like a superhero, a supervillain that turns good, which I loved that movie too. But no, it's really good and on its own level. And I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan, so, you know, to the fact that even it had him in it, and I really enjoyed it, is probably a bit of a surprise. This movie's really well done, and has a great message and a great point, and it goes about it in a really unique and fun way. I was really impressed in the storytelling and in where it took you in the story. In the movie Megamind. So that's possibly one to check out. Secretariat. Just saw this one pretty recently. And this is just a movie about a horse that ran in races. But it is very compelling and very worthwhile. And one I would say, not necessarily like all of these, certainly not like some of them, you can watch with the whole family. Secretariat is a very clean movie. And I wasn't worried about it watching it with my boys. It was really, really good. And again, redemptive and very cool. And finally, one called The Company Men, which Ben Affleck is in, as well as some other actors that I really enjoy, all of whom turn in great performances. This is one that may be a little bit of an acquired taste. I'm recommending it because it surprised me how much I liked it. Not sure that you will, but it is kind of about the recession and people who are in business and the difference between treating people like objects and treating them like people, and overall I just thought it was a great movie, and Tommy Lee Jones made the movie for me. I've missed him. I've really missed Tommy Lee Jones, kind of that, just the way he does speeches and the way he talks to people, and he conveys so much emotion in his words without hardly moving his face. I'm so impressed by Tommy Lee Jones and glad to see him in another movie that I really enjoyed. So that would be The Company Men. So there you go. Amongst the bevy, the plethora of movies that I saw in the last couple weeks, those are 5 I think you might want to avoid, and 5 I think you'd be pretty well off getting on your Netflix queue.